levels. Looks like we've got levels. Hopefully I've dropped down the gain on this microphone, so it shouldn't be as bad as I noticed in some of the recent streams. We have levels. There's a little bit. Looks like we've got levels. Yeah, maybe I should drop them down a little bit more. Anyway, good morning. It's 7 a.m. Saturday. I'm somehow up. I'm going to do my 15 minutes in the morning stream in which I spend 15 minutes on a project that otherwise would not be getting done. The project in question is making this a nerd magazine for myself. Like the concept is a kind of a luxurious, high-touch magazine that's full of nerdy stuff that I would like to know about for the local area where I live in New Hampshire. Which I guess I was about to say it doesn't have a reputation of being a nerd mecca, but actually there's quite a few nerds here. We just don't have a cool magazine. So why not make one and see what happens? That's the idea. So I've had this idea for a long time, maybe a few years, let's say, but just never got off my butt and done it. So there's a web part and there's a print piece. This has been the project since August 8th, 15 minutes at a time, generally, every day. And where are we now? Let me switch to my desktop. Let's see if this is still working. Good. So let's see. I'm in my project notebook. It's an application called Quiver, running on the Mac here. And my 15-minute rituals. Here's the continuity log. So this is to keep track of what I've done every day as tersely as possible, so I can pick up the next day. Just helps me remember much more quickly otherwise. I find that having to remember stuff is a big barrier for me to actually get started on a lot of projects, and for me, getting started on something seems to be the real challenge. Not sure why that is. Oh, hi, cat. Cat just made a face at me, so I'm ignoring you. Yeah, getting started for me is the difficult part. Once I get started, it seems that I can keep going. I can think of lots of ways, lots of reasons why starting is going to be difficult. For example, let's say you want to start going to the gym. That means I need to find my gym bag. I have no idea where my gym bag is. And just not knowing is enough for me to not want to start. Because the task then becomes one of searching the entire house, which seems like it could take a long time. It never takes as long as I think it will, but still my lizard brain is saying, oh, that's going to take a long time. Why don't we just stay downstairs and watch videos on YouTube and see other things, such as the allure of the internet? By getting past that immediate desire for gratification and then putting some effort in. That's kind of what these 15-minute mornings are about. So, I need my timer. It's always good to have a good kitchen timer. Set to an hour though. It's another 15 minutes. So that's ready, and let me just get the environment back up. So like over here, there's the startup, open the terminal to DSA web nerd metal node build sublime browser. That just gives me, it reminds me what I have to do. So I don't have to think about how do I start this project again? Again, it's kind of like finding my gym bag. It's like I know it's what? Okay, so I've restarted and let's see. Stream rate seems a bit better. I mean the right profile. Profile YouTube 1080. Oh, I am in the wrong cam mode. Nope, that's correct. I don't know why the stream is so variable though. Should be holding constant bitrate at This is X264. So, yeah, all that stuff should be working. It's just acting weird. Okay, so where we last left off. I'll try to just looking at Metalsmith stuff. There's only 10 minutes left in my morning stream. So let's go back here and look at some Metalsmith examples. Metalsmith node. How to create... Well, I thought I blocked site point. Sometimes there's good articles, but generally not. Looking this, look. I just want to see an example of the freaking build file. Building a blog. I've seen this. Mastering. What's Evo code? Let's see what these guys are up about. Using Metalsmith. Priorities matter. Use drafts for permanent links, collections, pagination. I guess I need to read about each of these files. There's a CLI. When to use make. What does all this do? Just reading. Metadata formatting. Yeah, what I guess I find... Look at this article. The kind of example documentation I want to see generally is good source code. I mean, it's nice to explain everything with all these words, but show me the complete example and document in the code. I mean, things like directory structures are useful. There must be a better way of formatting them, though. I mean, there's like maybe 3 things I want out of technical documentation. I want a very brief, high-level overview. That is, what it's supposed to do, and what the major system components are of it, and what the key data structures are, and how they relate to each other. Secondly, I want to see the API calls arranged around the architecture and data structures, not alphabetical. That drives me up the wall. Thirdly, I want to see structured source code that puts all of that stuff into context with a clearly marked place where it begins. And not only that, it should say where it should have a reference down back to the entire beginning of the bootstrap. How does this application start? Where does it start? Where does this fragment of code execute? And that's really all I want to see. I want to see that in 2 pages. No one does it. It's difficult, I suppose. Let's see. Regular folders, markdown files. So far, so good. This is written kind of like a way a video would be. Maybe it's a script. Partials. Okay, walking through each of the transformations. And I think one of the issues is I'm not reading, I'm scanning. Collections. So when I'm scanning, I'm just looking at... I'm trying to guess what this does by the syntax. And I guess I'm an experienced enough developer that I can do that, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be right or very correct or fast. See, because I don't know what a partial is. And I think I remember from looking at this page before that partials are implemented in multiple ways by different template systems, so I'm going to ignore it. Collections. What is a collection? It's home pattern. So anything in libraries is sorted by this. Platforms. Are these directories? These are names of collections, it looks like. So, okay, so collections, and it's an object is passed. The home collection has this. The libraries collection has this. Sorters, overview. Sorter, home. What is sorter? And what does overview refer to? Is sorter also a filter? Pattern, SQL, spec. There's a custom sorter function that return the order specified in the array and append the remaining subfiles pseudo-alphabetized. So what it does is what? Either generate top level navigation from the JavaScript, I guess. This is kind of interesting. I'm not sure exactly what it does. Here they're using a different template language for each collection. It emits an aref. Ugh. That's cool. Template in place. I am using this plugin. What does this do? It just runs handlebars over markdown fights right where they are. What does that mean? I think one issue I have with this is that we're not seeing the context of the overall file, which makes me have to relate one more piece of information that I don't have. So an example, we can use an API example helper. This is... So are they inserting handlebar template code inside their markdown? That doesn't seem like it would be a good thing. I guess I'll read more about it in Markdown. Well, I guess they're doing this first. Well, I guess they are. In any of their Markdowns, they can include template language stuff in the Markdown files. Huh. Okay. Headings. Iterates all the headings, extracting the text of the H2 tags. I mean, I kind of get what this is doing, but without the example, I'm finding difficulty just kind of figuring out how this will work. Here's layouts. So what does their website look like? So they have a bunch of directories. These are the collection things I think we saw. Then this stuff is generated. A bunch of files. I want to see the directory listing of the output. Using Node and Metalsmith. I looked through all of these directories. Exploring Metalsmith. Some of these are quite old. Not a whole lot of documentation on this. Well, I guess the internet is not going to be much of help. We're just going to have to gut through this. So, Metalsmith IO. Let's go to the source. And let's see. Let's read through this. Write our own functions. The issue is let's look at the code examples. Well, these plugins are like kind of obscurely documented. Wintersmith. Jekyll, drafts plugin, build tool. That's interesting. Project scaffolder. Static site. Is it this file? Metalsmith metadata. I'm thinking that inserts metadata. Source. Yeah, see, this is like very simple. I want to see a site that's like badass. Who's making badass websites with multiple, you know, something on the order of like what my website's like. I'd like to see that. This in here, a site. This is another trivial example. There's a big gap in intermediate examples on the internet. Lots of tutorials about how to do stuff. Very little about intermediate architectural level examples. Like, I want a 2-section website. So I am. Today is the first day I have not made very much progress on something because now I'm starting to get deeper into stuff. So that's my 15 minutes. I'm getting that video output warning again. Lots of dropped frames. What is dropping these frames? Anyway, maybe I'll have to debug that, or it's Saturday morning and everyone's up watching cartoons. So maybe the streaming quality is not good. I apologize for that if that's the issue. I'll have to review the stream later and see if it's actually watchable. I might have to start going to local recording and uploading. Anyway, that's the stream for this morning. Well, before let me quit, let me update my quiver. Tried to find some decent docs on more complex Metalsmith workflows, but failed to find any in the top couple of pages. Certainly there's room for it. So a question for them tomorrow is still how to handle multiple source directories with different processing needs. Frustrating, but I guess that's going to happen. Maybe I'll spend a little more time looking at this. I'm just dropping frames. It's very annoying. Unreliable internet. I think this upstream is slow. Consistently dropping frames. Actually, let me spend another 15 minutes. It's Saturday. I can do whatever I want, right? Let's make a list of interesting plugins. Why don't we? Let me write down what I know about Metalsmith. Metalsmith, since I already forgot. Here's what we have right now. There's some simple documentation, I think. Join the Slack channel. Yeah. It's on Heroku. Oh, it's because it has to do something to put you in. So you have what? Use and build. Each plugin is invoked. Why is this? Okay. I like the whole concept behind Metalsmith, but this is... I actually had to look into source code to see how this thing works. That's how ridiculous this is. Alright, here's the actual documentation. So really there's only Metalsmith has two basic commands. use, build, and probably error or something like that. How does it work? It reads all the files in the directory. This thinks this is JavaScript. Switch that to Markdown. Is this regular Markdown? I'm still not happy. Use and build. Use all files from source. Invokes series of plugins. Writes files to destination directory. Build gets a function error, and that's the entire thing, I think. Just use, or it's like Markdown or Metalsmith. Dir name, which is the current directory, and it just processes everything. The secret. So that's a powerful concept. This is a simple JavaScript API. Alright, so this is actually what I want. Source. Set the path to the source directory or get the full one of no path of our front matter. A bunch of these are... That's interesting. I should have looked at this a long time ago. This is the actual useful stuff. Example blog can be for like this. Example blog. So then so this is the order it runs in. Oh, okay, that's cool. I actually kind of like that. You just run Metalsmith and it will execute the compiled. Okay. Here's an example. Build. Source. Path. Use. Plugin. Destination. Path. So since this is all orders in a row, you tend to have, I think, your set parameters. Apply plugins. Write files. That's kind of the way it works. This is JavaScript. Actually, I should probably put this over. I guess that's fine. Clean, whether or not to remove the destination directory or not. It does. Front matter. Ignore. Metadata. Gets the global metadata. Is the global metadata. Run on a dictionary files. Run the middleware functions. That's this. Process without running files. You can add your own metadata. You can add metadata programmatically. Mode 26, okay. Troubleshooting. License. Segment IO. Who are these guys? That's where that guy was writing about. What is this company? Alright, so knowing this about Metalsmith on the left, on the right, what do we know? What do I want to do? I want to process the CSS files. And insert them in my markdown. So I guess, and I was thinking about it in terms maybe of like a regular build tool, like where I could actually execute like a run task, but I don't think Metalsmith entirely works that way. Or I would need to combine this with Gulp. I think that's what I need to do. Either they include the CSS. Either I need to, yeah. All right. So I think what my problem is that I'm thinking of this like it's a complete build tool, which can run all sorts of preprocessors, whereas Metalsmith is a little bit more streamed down. I guess it's extended through its plugins. Let's take a look at the Metalsmith plugins again and get an idea of what kind of things people are trying to do with them. So their code wasn't doing a whole lot. Auto prefixer. This is processing CSS. Can't tell what it does. It doesn't do what is this? There is nothing. Let's look at the source code. This is all it is. What it does, it gets a bunch of options. Requires auto prefixer core. Returns function files Metalsmith done. So files is an object, it's passed. It gets the Metalsmith object. Done, I guess, is the callback that it executes. Styles gets all the files, finds anything called CSS. Never that's what filter is for. Set immediate, done. What does set immediate do? Passes a callback function. Styles for each. Where does it get the styles? Styles is the keys. This is interesting. And object keys files filter gets all the CSS files. All right, so this is not handling styles themselves, but the files, the style files. Files, file, content. So it reads them all this way for each. Files passed in and during the call. Index is provided by for each, I think. The array is, where is it referred to here? New buffer, post CSS, auto prefixer. What are these commands? But that's interesting. I didn't know you could do stuff like that. I don't even understand what it's doing. Looking at the source code maybe is a good thing to do. Certainly the documentation isn't that helpful. Can it archive metadata? Use archive. The options, folders, date fields. So here you can specify subdirectory. So the plugins themselves sometimes can provide helpful directory operations. Alright, so this is, we're exporting this plugin. Collections, blah, blah, blah. Here's the actual stuff. Again, here's the same stuff. So the Metalsmith object itself has exposed the metadata object. It's a bunch of keys. Or is it? No. Now here's reading through all the files. Date fields. What is this doing? I forgot what this was supposed to be. Sort archive posts. Where are these functions coming from? Oh, here's one. So I guess I really need to understand the Metalsmith data structure. How to manipulate them is probably the key. And these are types of data manipulations I haven't seen before or am familiar with. So maybe that's something I need to study. Right now I'm starting to get a headache though. So I am going to call this, and I am going to drive for an hour to IKEA and buy some furniture. Probably should eat something first. But that was today's over 15 minutes frustrating dive into this Metalsmith stuff. Now that I'm trying to do something that actually is useful for me, I'm starting to hit the disconnect between my simple baby understanding of Metalsmith based on the tutorials I've seen and the actual inner workings of it, how it actually works so I can build a more complex workflow. And I have been unable to find a good article and go through via Google that really, I guess, talks at that level. There's a lot of them that just describes what their people are doing but it doesn't go into a lot of detail about, I guess, some of the insights into creating workflows. So that's what I need to figure out. Anyway, okay, that's the stream for today. Hope you have a good Saturday. I hope I have a good Saturday too, and I'll see you tomorrow morning at 7. Bye.